All right, you guys, it is time for another video. You know who it is, Angela Smith with AnJaNell, and this is a special video that I'm recording for the AnJaNell Online Sewing University. So we are still in the series of making tops and manipulating the pattern. So as you can see, I did exactly what I did in the previous videos where I traced my patterns out. Okay, my front and back, because you never just want to start cutting the original, all right, so that you always have it no matter what project you're working on, and you just trace it. So I have my muslin here on the wall just for teaching purposes, you guys. I promise you, you do not have to put it on the wall and trace like what I'm doing, all right? And typically, as a matter of fact, I usually do it on my board on the floor, but just due to recording on my tablet this time instead of recording on my phone where I actually have the stand, I did it on the wall. All right, so I'm just going to take my original pattern off and I'm just going to put it in a safe place. All right, there's my back. I'm just going to sit my pattern down here and my front. And again, if you don't know the difference between the two, it's not even if you don't know the difference, but it's always important to label, all right? Label, label, label. So I'm just going to go ahead and label mine. All right, so my front, I'm just going to put it down here. And my back. Y'all might not be able to see that it's clear, but I can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come with a different color marker so that you guys can see exactly what I'm about to do to this pattern. So what I wanted to actually design this time was a top with a high neck. All right, and so what we're going to do, we're going to start with the front. Have you ever saw the tops? Basically, there's no sleeve and it comes up on the neck. That's what we're going to work on. So the very first thing that you do to manipulate the pattern is you're going to take your armhole and you're going to connect it to the top of the shoulder. All right, so it's almost like you're completely eliminating your whole shoulder. All of this is going to be gone. So again, I'm going to take my curved ruler. You don't even have to curve it though. You can use a regular ruler and connect this to this. Now you don't want to dip too low because keep in mind, your breasts are aligned right here with your shoulder. Your breasts are aligned. So you don't want to dip too low. I'm literally going to keep almost this whole curve, and about here is where I'm going to start going up so that it's not too low and I don't have to worry about the boob or anything hanging out. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to use the curved ruler. I'm going to use the regular ruler so that you all can see exactly what I mean. So all you need is a ruler right now and a marker. A ruler, a marker, and your patterns. So I'm going to take my ruler up here and I'm literally going to put a line in there. Okay? So all I did, align my ruler here and about here. You see, I didn't touch that curve. That curve is still there because we're going to need that. All right? And honestly, that's all you do with this. It's okay for you to have this curve, but actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this curve as well. So I'm literally just going to do a straight line there. All right. So if you notice, we only did 2 lines, you guys. Your new pattern goes like this. It goes down here. You still have your side seams and you still have your bottom the exact same. And I'm going to do the same exact thing with the back pattern. I know you may not be able to tell what's going on right now, but just rock with me. If you've been rocking with me this long, you know that I will not lead you astray. All right, so we're just putting a line in there. And again, we're going to take away the curve. So just a straight line, straight across. No more shoulder. All right? So let me show you how this is going to end up. I'm going to take my scissors. And it's time to cut it out. All right, so I have my back pattern. And if you want, just for, for confusion purposes, whatever color you do your corrections in, you make your alterations with, maybe you should go ahead and color all of it the same color, so that you don't confuse yourself and you don't accidentally cut this or accidentally cut this. So that's all on you. I didn't think to do that. All right, believe it or not, that pattern is done. So considering this is my front, I just want to show you, this is your center front, high neck, curve around the arm. This is the look that we are going for. I absolutely love this type of top. So all I'm going to do next is I'm going to lay my pattern on my fabric. Keep in mind, the straight lines are your center front. I had the center front of this pattern and the center front of the back pattern aligned with the straightest line of my muslin. So now this is going to be your fold on the front, and this is going to be your fold line on the back. I'll show you. Wait. Before we start sewing, it's very, very important that we get our neck piece for this top. All right, you guys? So you need your yardstick. If you have your neck measurement, you're going to need that. If not, grab your measuring tape. You can get it now. And, of course, your marker. So what we're going to do is take the neck measurement from your measurements. All right? I don't have mine right here in front of me. So I'm just going to take it again. And my neck is comfortably about 15 inches, all right? We're going to take that measurement and add 4.5. So that gives me 19.5. So what we're going to do is literally just a straight line. I'll put it up high. A straight line. 19.5 inches. Okay, so just a straight line, 19.5 inches. We're going to go down the width of this 4.5 inches. All right, so you added 4.5 inches to the length, and now you're going down for the width 4.5 inches. You guys, all we're doing is making a big rectangle. All right, 4.5 inches. Straighten it up. We're going back over the 19.5 for my neck measurement. And then close it up. All right, so we have a rectangle. This is your neck piece. All right, so I'm going to label that so that when you store this pattern, you have all 3 pieces. This is your neck piece. All right, now we are going to go ahead. We're going to cut this out. We're going to lay it on our fabric. We're going to cut that out, and then we're going to sew, serge, and get this bad boy together. All right, see you guys, I'm back on the floor on my cutting table. All right, so here is my back pattern. This is the fabric that I chose to use. As you see, I gave myself some allowance on the top as well as on the bottom. Now, after I laid this on the fabric, I remembered that this particular top I wanted to make longer. So what I'm going to do on here is I'm adding 10 inches. So what I did was I just pinned along my 10-inch mark. Okay, so I just measured, because keep in mind, if you don't want it to stop at your waistline and you want it longer, you just need to add it. Now, you want to make sure that you don't get into doing your hip measurement. You don't want it to cover your hips, because that's going to take you actually doing more with the pattern, okay? So you want it to, if you want it longer, maybe, you know, somewhere on top of your hips, especially if it's not a stretch fabric. So anywho, this is a stretch fabric, because keep in mind, for this entire series, I want you guys to use stretch fabric. All right, it's very good for learning purposes, as well as because we aren't into zippers yet or closures. You really got to get this, just the basics down packed first. All right, so I went ahead and laid it on fold. All right, if you don't know what that means, that's basically just the crease of the fold. All right, because I have my fabric doubled, because this pattern is only half of your back and this is your center back. Okay, so I have it on there, I have it pinned, I added my 10 inches on the bottom, so I want it kind of long. And then don't forget that you have to go all the way around your fabric, adding 1 inch. Okay, that's called seam allowance. You need to go all the way around, adding 1 inch, and when you get onto the top, you're only going to add a half of inch, not a full inch. All right, just a half an inch on the small neck part, and 1 inch going on this part, as well as the sides all the way down to the bottom. All right, so that's what I'm about to do, and the next thing that you see will be me sewing the top, the front and the back together. I don't know how I keep forgetting about this neck piece, but you guys, I just took some of the scraps, found me a really good solid piece, and I barely had enough, but I made it work. Your neck piece, you're going to lay, pin, and you're going to cut it exactly as it is. All right, no seam allowance for the neck piece. All right, because I already worked it in. So we're going to cut that out. Now we are going to put it all together. All right, guys, so the very first thing I'm going to do actually before we start sewing is we're going to serge. So I have my front piece here, and even though it's brown, for teaching purposes, I changed my colors to this wine color. But all you're going to do is the piece that connects the neck and the armhole, you're going to serge those as well as the top of the neck. All right, so you're literally just serging it. You don't have to worry about serging the side seams right now. All right, so I have that done. I'm just cutting my loose ends. But again, all I did was my top of the neck, I serged, and then this line, I serged. All right, so I'm going to do that for the back piece as well. I didn't do my side seams and I didn't do my bottom, but I am going to do it for the back piece. And then the next thing you'll see is me sewing the front and the back together. Okay, so I have my pieces serged. I have my front and back together, right sides together. What I'm about to do is go ahead and sew my side seams together. So literally, just from under the arm down to the bottom, back stitch at the top, back stitch at the bottom. I'm about to do that on both sides. Got a little tangled up here. I don't know what happened. There we go. So I have one side stitched together. You see my fabric is a little bit different. I saw this and I fell in love with it. I wanted to hurry up before the summer is over, but it's solid on the top, so my boobs and everything will be covered, but then it has like somewhat of just some see-through lines on the bottom half of my shirt. So I thought it was cute. I wanted to take advantage of it. All right, so I'm just lining up my sides. Now, I'm a little bit more skilled and I feel bad that I'm doing this, but you should pin your side seams together before you start sewing, all right? Especially if you don't have as much experience and you can't line it up as you go. If you're not there yet, I understand. And I do apologize. Because I should have pinned my side seams together. I don't want you to get upset if you try to do it and your sides aren't aligned or you have to keep doing it over. So I'm telling you now, pin down your sides before you just sew them together. You guys, I've been doing this for a while. So now what I'm going to do, because again, I did not serge my side seams. So I'm going to go ahead and serge them now. All right, so just rock with me. I'm going to slide over to my other machine here. And I'm just going to serge off the excess. You guys, the serger is very important because it keeps your fabric from fraying. So I have my side seams serged. As you can see, it evens them up. And then again, it keeps it from fraying. So the next thing I'm going to do, let me serge my other side together and go slow with the serger. Go slow with the serger because you can easily put a hole in your fabric if you don't go slow with it. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to hem the sleeves slash, you know, what goes up to your neckline. Keep in mind, we added 1 inch seam allowance. We added 1 inch seam allowance. So the proper way to hem is you're going to go, okay, so we have our right sides together. So you're working with the wrong side. If you're looking at the wrong side of your fabric, you're going to fold it down 1/2 inch, down another 1/2 inch. That's what it looks like on the wrong side. And you're literally going to stitch that together. Okay? You have to make sure you use that full 1 inch seam allowance, or else it's going to be too big. Your measurements will be off. We intentionally added 1 inch seam allowance. So you're going to do that with this part. I keep saying the sleeve / neckline. All right, so you're going to do it on one layer all the way around to the back layer. All right, so go ahead and hem both sides. Both sides. So the only thing we'll have left is to go ahead and put the neck piece on and hem the bottom, and we will be done. All right, so as you guys can see, I also serged all the way around my neck piece. All right, so what you're going to do next, right sides together. All right, so if I was using a print, this would be my pretty side. All right, right sides together. We're going to go right down the open side, and we're going to stitch. Follow the side of your foot. Just align your foot with the fabric. Back stitch, all the way down, back stitch. And you should just have a circle. All right? All right, guys. So this is where we are now. Your top should look very, very similar to this. And I have my neck piece. It's fully serged, as well as I have my stitch. All right? That's keeping it together. So if you pull it apart, it's literally a circle. What we're going to do first, with my top, if you notice, I have a couple of pins in here. You need to mark your center front and your center back. All right? If it's not already marked, it's very simple. Take this piece, fold it, and put a pin in the middle mark. And so you're going to do the same thing for the back. Take the back, fold it, and if you notice, there's a pin directly in the center. So it's really, really good to mark your center pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my neck piece, and I want my seam in the center back. All right, this is my back piece right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to literally put my top in this piece. So this seam is serving as my center back, okay? It'll be directly in the center of my back. So I'm not going to pull that all the way through. Take your top layer, your back, line the center with the center of the seams. You can open those up, and you're going to pin, okay? And you're literally going to just pin to the end of your top. You should see the end of the back of my neck. Here's the other end. So you notice that the neck piece is bigger than the top, okay? So I have the back together. Then I'm going to open this up, and you see my front piece. Here's the center front. Here's the center of my neck piece, and you're going to do the same thing. Pin, okay, so I'm just pinning to the end of my front piece. So if you notice, there should be a gap. If I turn this right side out, or if I look at the inside of this garment, there's a gap in here. In between my back, there's a space, then I have my front. That is a part of the design. If you notice, it's the exact same way over here. You have an opening. I didn't pin that one all the way. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're literally just going to pin from your seam here from in the back, all the way over, back stitch, all the way over, end it at your seam here. Cut it, new stitch, your front, go in there, back stitch to the other part of your front, and then I'll show you what to do next. All right, y'all, let's finish it up. So here is the last step. So if you notice, I'm still working on the back. My seam is going down the back of my neck. All right, but I want to start over here with this opening, all right? You see this opening. So first what we're going to do is take the neck and we're going to fold it in. And again, we're kind of lining it up. So you see a really small neckline now. All right, so if I go over here to the opening where my arm is, okay, the top where that gap is, you can't leave this surgeon stitch showing. So since we stitched over here and stitched over here, you're literally going to just fold that under. So it's almost like a hem. And now if you look at it, look how clean that looks. All right, but again, you still have this piece that you brought under, okay? So what you're going to do is also hem that, line these two up together, and you're going to stitch. So this is what the inside is going to look like. So I'll show you again as we go around. So I'm going to pull this in where you can see all my surgeon stitches. All right, this is where we originally sewed the neck piece in the inside of the garment. You're going to fold that up. Okay, you always want that tucked in the collar. This is your piece that we folded down, and you're literally just hemming that to cover all of those surging stitches. And you have to be careful with the pen because you're sewing right on the edge of your collar. So if you notice, the outside should look just as clean as the inside. So, and if you're having a hard time with your fabric, use your iron to press down the top, then go in here and make your corrections. All right, so again, here's all of my stitches from earlier. I'm taking my top piece, I'm just hemming it down, covering that up, and pinning it. Always flip to the front and see how your pen lands. And your collar should be exactly even. So again, if you notice that it's uneven, you may want to take your iron and you may want to press it. And I have my finger on the top of the fabric just feeling for that notch. Okay, so that it all aligns. If you notice, my pins are right on the edge of the outside. So now we've made it again to this little gap. Keep in mind my arm is going through here. Tucking. Because you want to line this up exactly as it is over here. So this opening, I just tucked. And I put a pin on just that one layer until I flip it over and get my other layers intact. So I got my top. And now that I have both of them, now I move the pin to go through both layers. All right, so this is exactly what the back looks like. And I'm very carefully just going to stitch all the way around the collar. Let me finish up my front so that you can see it. I'm almost done. Fabric always turns up. Hem the top and pin. One more pin. Can you see that good? All right. Hem. And be careful. Make sure this little, your hem should be in alignment with the hem on the opposite side. And once you stitch, this is what it is going to look like. And you will be done. You know, take an iron to it, press it out. The next thing you guys are going to see are pictures of this. Make sure you post pictures in the group of your top and how yours turned out. If you have any questions, comment underneath this video, or you can inbox me directly. That's all I got, you guys. I'm signing out.